Welcome to day 12 of our 21-day walk to wealth, 21 days of prosperity and abundance, 21 days to a healthier, wealthier, more beautiful you. As you know, this is Natalie Pace, and thank you for joining us. Day 12's mantra is peace. I didn't plan it that way. Today is the peace deal was just announced finally between Israel and Gaza. And today is also the day where the fires have been raging in Los Angeles now for over a week. Um, I'm a refugee from that. I've had to evacuate to Encinitas for the past week, and I'm so very grateful for my hosts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's lean into peace and let's talk a little bit about what that might look like. Okay. Uh, I'm going to give you a few examples, but the one thing I want to remember is that you just want to keep this top of mind all day long. And the question that you might ask yourself is my action or are my words, are they creating peace or are they creating conflict? Are they inviting a conflict? And sometimes there's a very famous saying, I don't know who said it, the battle you win is the one you don't show up for. So I really like this one. Also, I remember, child development experts would always say, with your kids, you really want to pick your battles. Now, I don't like that idea that you'd have any battle with your kid at all, but anyone who's had a child knows that they especially in certain developmental times where it's actually quite natural, 2-year-olds and teens, in fact, are the most contentious towards their parents. It's a natural, 2-year-olds need to separate and stop being so associated with moms, and they need to wean themselves a little bit. Teens need to start preparing for being an adult and being away from home. So it's actually a developmental thing that nature has done. And probably there's a lot of emotions to it too. But again, in these very contentious times where nature is actually putting kids and parents a little bit at odds with one another in order for the maturation process to take place, that's when peace can be really an important tool. Now, that doesn't mean roll over and let everybody do whatever they want and just take advantage of you or harm you in any way. What it means is that you know how to be a peacemaker. You know how to use dialogue. You know how to use your words. You know how when you're not supposed to show up to the battlefield, where you're supposed to take a step back and say no. You know when you're supposed to bring in allies and help, right? You know when you can reason and you know when you cannot reason with others. You know when you're supposed to love people as they are and stop trying to change them. Again, all of this is not an act of pacifism or uh, it's not non-confrontational. It's active peacemaking. So, as an example, let's say that I have a teen and my teen didn't take out the trash, and that's something that he or she is supposed to do. I like also natural consequences, right? So then there may be a natural consequence that the teen already knows about where they can't go out with their friends until the trash gets taken out. And the really interesting thing is that when you have these kind of boundaries in place, then oftentimes it becomes the way life is. And if the teen is if they understand that that's the way life is and that they're not going out before the trash gets taken out, then the trash might get taken out without any words exchanged, right? Um, if they do something that's outside of the household boundaries as a teen, then they may have even more severe consequences, right? But if, let's say, that they do something that's normal teen behavior, like leave their room messy, you might find that I'm not saying that they should. I mean, maybe there are certainly, very military type dads who think that a messy bed or in a messy room is a messy mind. And I'm not saying that you should change your standards. I'm just saying that there will be some things that are small things, right? Small stuff. Pick the things that you want to really focus on. Now, at work, there may be somebody who's constantly peppering you with things that annoy you, right? What do you do with that? Okay, if you've got a peacemaker's mindset, maybe you have to do your own mindfulness practice. Maybe you have to run into the bathroom and think, okay, love, breathing, and some of these other strategies that we talked about. The other thing, even again, especially in day one, I mean, week one, where we were getting rid of the drama, right? We were learning that we can be a creator of our life. And every moment that we spend battling is a moment that is not spent creating. Wars are very destructive, right? I know that my uncle was very high up in the US military, so I understand that there is a case to be made for protecting your boundaries, for protecting your home, absolutely. But at the same time, we may also find ourselves, especially in today's world where everybody wants to point the finger and place the blame elsewhere instead of trying to live, maybe live the solutions themselves, especially with regard to sustainability, but other things as well. You know, it's not all about that. It's not all about protecting our boundaries. Oftentimes we'll find that it's about proving we're right or imposing our lifestyle on others. And obviously, someone who is the founder of the Earth Gratitude Project, I would love to impose sustainability on all of us, but I know that's not the way to get it done. And I know that it's a process. It's not just a process for others, it's a process for me. I gave up my car a few years ago. Why didn't I do that sooner? I just learned how important it is to use recycled toilet paper a couple of years ago. Why didn't I know that before? Within the last few years, I learned that polyester is made of oil and plastic is made of oil, and that the conversation has to be different than just recycling or whether it's your clothing or your plastic, that the conversation has to be different, that you really have to know cradle to grave where your products are coming from and make smarter choices. Now, again, I'm not saying that to, like to belittle you or to be at war with you. I'm saying that to inform you, and I'm saying that's something I was not even aware of, and I study this stuff. So that's what I mean to say is that when we take our ego back a step. And when we are really seeking to create peace, then we're having conversations with people instead of driving to the end zone of proving we're right. And we also can love people where they are, right? Like we don't have to change them in order to love them. And I was really happy because, there are friends and family members who are not into sustainability and maybe even think that I'm Looney Tunes or that my message is off point when we all drive and we all need oil. And, certainly the new incoming energy secretary stresses that, everybody wants no oil and they don't realize that their clothes are made from it. So, there may be a lot of people that think that, but I got so many letters of support during the LA fires. And yes, I might have already told you, I am one of the people who had to evacuate from LA. I've been gone all week. The air quality was unbreathable, and the evacuation warning was half a mile from my place. The order was a mile from my place. So, and the air was unbreathable and unhealthful. So, think peace all day today. And I think the most important thing is remember the battle you win is the one you don't show up for. Remember that it's not about you imposing your will on others. And remember that we're all on a journey and none of us is perfect, right? And the more that we understand that and can have conversations with one another and find areas where we agree. The interesting thing is we all agree we want clean air, clean food, healthy food, clean water to play in the ocean and to drink. All of this are clean, all of these are things that we all can agree on. What we disagree on is how to get there. And so that is a process of dialogue. That is a process of understanding just how much misinformation and perhaps even disinformation there is out there, not blaming others for believing it, but having the dialogue so that we can start raising awareness. And this can be with our teen about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It can be with our 2-year-old about temper tantrums. It can be with our neighbor about, coming across the political divides and being neighborly. It can be about community. It can be about creating stronger communities, coming up with consensus about how we can protect our communities from natural disasters, which are, top of mind for me being, this close to the LA fires. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. Remember peace all day today. Are my words, are my actions creating peace, or are they causing and stirring the pot? All right, I will see you tomorrow.